Holly Giles. I'm the creator of the Giles Frontier, and thank you for joining us in our Giles Frontier community today. You know, our family's been traveling all summer long, and we really enjoy talking with people in person. And I realize that we share a lot of personal things with families when we're out on the road, but I don't do it very often when we are on our website and on Facebook. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about our family with you and let you know, I really want to know your story. So as we all start this homeschooling season, I don't want to see your schoolroom, and I don't want to know what curriculum you're doing. I want to know about your family. I want to know how you got started in homeschooling and how we can be an encouragement and a support to each other. I find it interesting to learn about that, how families came to homeschooling, and how in turn it really changed our lives in a new direction. Hi, Kimberly, how are you? Kimberly actually is a great example of that with homeschooling and her son, and how it really changed her outlook on raising her son and what they did with him. And so those are the stories that I love to hear. So today I just wanted to share with you our story a little bit and let you know how we got into homeschooling. A lot of you have met my oldest son, Grayson. He's 14. And, you know, Curtis and I were parents later in life. I didn't have Grayson until I was 32. For 10 years prior to that, we suffered with infertility issues, and it was difficult for us to have a child. And so I cherished Grayson's little years. I just savored them because it was so wonderful. And there's another story behind that because he's a special needs child, but we didn't know that until he was 4. And Mary Beth can drop that link for our special needs journal if you're interested in hearing that story. So we did a lot of stuff outside because Grayson loved to be outside. And so we read books aloud. He loved it. It was calming to him. We were out in our backyard all the time, and we'd go fishing and walking just because there was something about being outdoors that he loved. Well, when he was 4, we found out he had had a stroke, most likely when he was born, which caused a lot of the things that we were experiencing. But we didn't know. He was our first child. And so all of those things were new to us. So I was a public school kid. I had been in public school my whole life. That's what I did. I was a bookworm. I loved to do schoolwork. I was a straight A student, and I always did what I was told, and I didn't know any other way. And of course, everyone said, well, if you have a special needs child, you know, he probably needs to go to school where he can get the help that he needs. So at age 4.5, I started working with him at home because I thought I've got to get him ready for kindergarten. Does anyone else know what I'm talking about? Because I don't want to just throw him in there if everyone thinks he's going to be behind. So I worked with him, and we read, and we did all those wonderful things. Then when he was 5, almost 6, I kept him back. I wasn't going to start kindergarten until he was 6. He had to go do testing. You know, the battery of testing they do over weeks at a time where they interview him, and he does testing with different professionals in different areas. And then you come together at the school, and they go over the report that they have done on your child, on where they think that he needs to be. So my husband and I go to this meeting at the school, and there's all these professionals, hi Cheryl, sitting around there. And of course, you're kind of nervous because you have no idea what they're going to say. And I didn't want to send my child away. I was enjoying having him at home. So as we sat there, they showed us this graph of his skills. And he had a lot at the very bottom, and there was some in the middle. And his comprehension and reasoning were off the charts in the gifted level. And they began questioning me on what is it that you've been doing with him? Because we see his diagnosis, but nothing seems to be matching up. And I said, we read aloud a lot, and we play outside. And that's pretty much what we've done. And I work with him a little bit, but we really just explore where we live, and that's what we've been doing. And one of the teachers at the end of the table, she smiled, and she said, have you ever considered schooling him at home? And I was a little excited about that, but I couldn't believe that they were actually saying it. And several people said, he really doesn't fit in any of these boxes where we need to place him. And the honest truth is he will not thrive in this particular school environment. And so if you've ever considered keeping him at home, he would probably thrive in that environment. Well, I just, my husband got a little mad about that, but I was excited because I felt like that was God's cue to me to do what I really wanted to do all along, which was to school him at home. And I really didn't understand that that was a possibility. So this is what I did. I came home and we're going to start school now, kindergarten. And we live in a tiny house, y'all. We have a 2-bedroom house. We did close in our carport when Grayson was little, and that's sort of our office, catch-all, extra. If you come spend the night at our house, you're on an air mattress in the other room in there. But I was going to turn it into a little schoolroom part of it. So we had a school desk, and we had all the stuff on the wall, the ABCs and the states map and all those different things. And we were going to do school because still in my mind, we're schooling at home, but we're going to do school. And I ordered a pretty box of curriculum that had everything in it. And that's really when our trouble began. Grayson was really sweet and compliant boy. He'd do whatever you wanted him to do, and he sat diligently and did those things, but we weren't enjoying our time together. And yeah, I had a tiny house where it was cool. Yeah. We weren't enjoying our time together, and that's the honest thing. I was missing doing all those things out in our community and in our backyard. And of course, we still did some. We read aloud outside, but we didn't do as much because I felt like we're supposed to do school. And so when our first evaluation came around, we went to Cheryl, my friend. She's joined us here now, and it's been a long time. She might not remember, but I think we showed up with like some blueberry jam and some homemade bars, something like that we love to do kind of on the side. And then we brought this big box of stuff like workbooks and papers and all this stuff. We're sitting at her dining room table and we're going through this stuff, and I was kind of, I don't know, I just didn't have a good feeling about it. And you could see Grayson, he could have cared less. He had zero interest in what we had on that dining room table. Story of my dream. And Cheryl, she's like, what's going on? You guys don't seem really enthusiastic about this new journey, because really it was still new for us. And I said, Cheryl, I just feel like we're being closed in by this. And I miss being outside. I miss learning about the world with my son through his eyes. And I just feel like we are trapped and we're not enjoying our time together. And she kind of laughed at me and she said, girl, don't you understand? You have the freedom. You have the freedom to decide how you choose to educate your child. And if this isn't working, then find a new way. And Cheryl really was the catalyst in us finding a new way, us blazing a trail into what worked for Grayson. Even though he thought differently, he's a very bright child, he just had different ways to learn. And I had to figure that out. And a lot of moms, I think, really kind of suffer with that. They aren't quite sure what to do, and so that big shiny box seems to be a one-size-fits-all. But when it isn't, really, you've got to find what works for your kids. So that's what we did. We kind of broke out of that mold. Yeah, look at us now. We kind of broke out of that mold, and little did we know the path God really had for us, because we have used the past 10 years to grow and change, and He's turned our lives upside down and really turned homeschooling into a ministry to share with others what we have done to break out of that box. And for us, breaking out of the box is, yes, we have to learn to read, we do math, we do language arts, but we do them in a different way. We do it where our children's interest lies. Now, Grayson, who's 14 now, he's doing really well, and he's quite the entrepreneur. And honestly, some days it's difficult to try to figure out how we're navigating this, because he's always changing. He has these ideas that I can't keep up with. And so every day we're trying to figure out how to tailor education to work for him. He's very interested in business and entrepreneurial things. He has his own business, his own lawn business that he's been doing for 3 years now that really has taken off, which has rolled into all these other things. And that's not sitting at a table doing work, but boy, he is learning. And Grant is coming right along beside him. There's so many different things they're interested in. And so that's really our story. I never anticipated where it would take us. And there's so many great and wonderful things that come from schooling our children at home in the way they need to be schooled. So my friend Mary Beth, who's on here, she is a full-time, road school mom. And so learning for her is different than it's going to be for me. And Trish, who's on here with us now, they live on 10 acres. So I would love to go homeschool at their house for a day because I think that'd be a lot of fun. And she does things in a different way. And every season's different. And so knowing that every season might change, that this year might not look like next year, that's okay. And two, I want to talk a little bit about co-ops and hybrid type of schools. And there's something that's going to work for your family. It's not going to work for everyone's family. Yes, Mary Beth School's on wheels like a circus. We have a circus too here some days. It just isn't rolling. Right? Yes, those seasons of change. And, I think a lot of us moms, we need encouragement and we need friends. We need to get out and have friends and people to talk to. For me, especially besides boys, because there's just only so many fishing lure names that I can learn before I need some adult conversation. And this week, you guys, I have washed about 6 fishing lures in the wash, and they smell. And now our clothes have this weird smell, so I have to wash clothes again to get out the fishing lure smell. Do you have that problem at home? Yeah, this is what I have. Anyway, so early on, I wanted to do co-ops, and quite honestly, I wanted to do it for me because I needed some mom friends. Yes, I needed some mom friends. So we did a co-op, but co-ops aren't a right fit for my boys. And I learned that the hard way. So we as a family, we choose not to, but it might work for your children. They might have different personalities and really enjoy that time being with other kids and experiencing different things. And so you have to make that choice. And sometimes it's a seasonal choice as well. Sometimes there might be things going on in your family, and that's okay. Whatever is working for your family is what works. And so here at the Giles Frontier, we really just want to encourage you to look at your family. We believe in creating strong family relationships. I think that's number one that we have learned in 10 years, that it's not about the math book, it's about the relationship. We also really want to encourage people to simplify their days at home. We don't have to do 7 subjects a day. We really don't. And finding a way to do that as a group, if you have several children, we do our stuff together as a group as much as we can, and then we break off. And that works for us. It might not work for you. And then there's what I call hybrid schools, where you go to school 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and that might be a good fit for your family, but it might not work for the other family next door. And so that's why I really want to know your story. I want to know your story, how you came into homeschooling. So share that with us in the comments. And even if you're coming in later, not watching this live, share your comments, how you came into homeschooling with us. I always think it's interesting to see how different families work, what works for them. Some families have 1 child, some have many, and how they're able to do that and work homeschooling. What changes have you made that were for the better? And what mistakes have you made? I think we all learn from mistakes. And we're not defined by our mistakes. Definitely, we're not defined by our mistakes. And I wanted to share a post with you today. Mary Beth can link for us. It's called, "Are You Bringing School Home or Creating a Homeschool?" And it's a post I wrote for moms as you start a new season, and just encouraging you the difference between those things and how your life can really change when you look at your family and what's right for your family and make those changes. Because sometimes you got to be brave. It's really bravery is what it is, to step out and not be afraid to make a different choice for your family, to do what's right. Now, sometimes it might be lonely. There's been times where I was lonely in homeschooling because it was a season where we either didn't get out much or I wasn't in a group, where I could see other moms. And yeah, be brave, mamas. And there's days, y'all have to collaborate with me on this, where I do have chocolate strategically hidden in my house for those days where it's rough, where you have a rough day. There's going to be rough days. Don't let anyone tell you homeschooling is not hard, because it is. It's hard. But it's a choice that we make, and we work through it. We have those days. Cheryl posted she had a nail and a screw in her tire yesterday. Like, that just threw her day all out of whack, and so many different things going on. And we can really get frustrated by that, on not either keeping on task or keeping on routine or on our schedule, but taking those opportunities and really finding the gifts that are within those opportunities. Like Cheryl ended up having the gift of time with one of her children, which for her is difficult. She has many going on in her house. And so sometimes it's those little things that can really be kind of nuggets that carry you through in your homeschooling. I also want to encourage you to find a support group, because sometimes we might join a co-op because we think that we're going to make mommy friends. And if co-ops work for your family, that's wonderful. But a lot of times you spend a lot of time working for everyone else, and you don't even have time to make friends with moms. But support groups are a great place because you have a variety of women in different seasons of homeschooling that can mentor you. And mentors are a wonderful thing. It's great to have the mommy friend who has the same age kids as you, and you can kind of, collaborate on what's going on in your house. But it's also great to have someone who's already walked that walk that can encourage you, because they've been where you are and they've made it to the other side. And it's great to have those mentors. So a support group is good for you wherever you live. A good place to start would be check with FPEA, because they have a list of support groups if you live in Florida. A lot of you might not live in Florida. If you don't live in Florida, tell us where you live in the chat. Tell us where you live if you don't live in Florida. What states are you coming to us from? So check with your state organization that can tell you where the different support groups might be in your area, and that's a good place to start. We have a great support group in Central Florida. Thank you, Cheryl, for that. We have a great support group where they do have a co-op, and I haven't been in their co-op for years and years, but I have a lot of women that I know that I could count on, and women that I can share things with, and so that's a great, great place to start. So I want you to tell me your stories, ladies, in the comments on how you started homeschooling. So you've heard a little bit about our story. Mary Beth shared the link about the special needs journal. That's kind of another story for us, what led us into homeschooling. And it's a challenge to figure out what's right. Trish, yeah, she needs to build a support group. Definitely. And if you can't find one, then I want this to be a community of support for you, because we're all in this together, different ages and stages. We're all, hi Hannah, how you doing? We're all doing different things. Hannah has a great website too. Hannah, you can share that with us, your Creative Homeschool Journal. That's a great place for support. Hannah gives a lot of tips there. And there's people from all over the country in that one as well. So having support through homeschooling and different ideas. And sometimes it's good just to be with your family and to not look at social media. I know we're on social media right now talking to each other, but sometimes you need to just be with your family and see what they need and figure that out. Because a lot of times comparison too, especially this time of year. And that's why I didn't want to talk about schoolrooms and I didn't want to talk about curriculum, because I don't believe you need either to homeschool your children well. You just need you. You are enough. You're enough to homeschool your kids, no matter what stage or age or circumstance that you are in. God has placed you there for a reason. And so I don't want comparison to steal your joy of homeschooling your kids this season. Mary Beth, have I left anything out? Oh, yeah, we wanted to tell you about the Learning Lifestyle Revival and book club, right? So our Learning Lifestyle Revival membership, this is our first month, and we've got a lot of great members in there, and that's who I was talking to instead of you guys, was in that group. I pushed the wrong button. So I've already talked to Sheila and Kim, and we've already had great conversation. But our Learning Lifestyle Revival, our family really has created this as a place where you can come and simplify your days with your kids. That's our goal. Simplify your days with your children with intentional ideas and lessons to share. There's not a lot of workbooks. There's not a lot of things like that because I want you to enjoy your time with your kids, learning some amazing things about our world and the community right where you live. We also believe in preserving childhood. That's become our mission because childhood doesn't last very long. And we want to make sure our kids can be kids because they're going to grow up, whether we want them to or not, and pretty fast. So yeah, I can't keep up with the with the comments, sorry. And what I have learned is that watching my kids be curious about the world has taught them more than a textbook. I'm not against textbooks, but preserving childhood and really allowing them to explore the world on their own terms is what helps their minds to develop and their bodies to grow. And our main thing at the Learning Lifestyle Revival is building strong family relationships. That's what we've learned over the last 10 years is that is our main goal. We want them to learn to read and write, but the relationship that our children leave our home with us is of the utmost importance, and that's our main goal, and we want to share that with you. So those are our three main goals in the Learning Lifestyle Revival that we would love for you to be members and join us. Every month we have something new coming in. On Monday, we'll be adding a new podcast. We have a place for moms in there as well. We have a lot of wonderful people coming in, sharing their knowledge with you. And on Monday, my friend, she is a pediatric occupational therapist. She's going to come in and talk to us about the importance of play and the development of the mind and body, and it's really good stuff. So I'd love to have you join us so that you can hear her. Also, we have the Prairie Life Book Club. So Mary Beth, if you want to put the link for book club and then give them that code for the $10 off coupon. Our Prairie Life Book Club, and Mary Beth is joining me and doing a lot of stuff for a book club. She is actually in Indiana, and she's making some videos with us. She's going to some really awesome places for our book club. We are reading Little House in the Big Woods, and I'm so excited about it because my dream is coming true on gathering people from all over the country, immersing ourselves in this great piece of literature and doing it together. We're learning history, we're learning science, we're going to learn life skills, we're going to do all of these things together. Let the moms share together and the children share together, and we're going to take you to some amazing places and do some awesome things with you that are going to create lasting memories with your kids. So if you haven't joined us for Prairie Life Book Club yet, check that link that Mary Beth gave you and go and sign up. We are closing sign up on September 9th because we start September 18th because I want this to be a personalized and unique event for every family. We're closing it down because we're preparing for each family. We're going to send stuff in the mail, and we're going to make this such a really unique experience for your family that we want to make sure we're ready when we all join together on September 18th. So go check out that link. Mary Beth gave you a coupon code for $10 off. And does anybody have any questions I can answer for you right off? If not, please leave questions in the chat box even after we're done, and I can go back and answer them for you. Yeah, Mary Beth is planning to go to Lake Pepin for us and do some filming at Laura Ingalls Wilder's home in Mansfield, Missouri. We are so excited about that. And that's what's so awesome is I get to meet amazing moms who are completely different than me. Mary Beth, as I said, she's a full-time road school mom. And if I didn't mention this before, you want to go catch her podcasts over at roadschoolmoms.com. They do a podcast every week on Sunday night. And they do awesome stuff. You don't have to be a full-time road schooler to enjoy their podcasts. They're awesome. And her and I met a couple years ago. We have similar interests. And she's like, I'm going to be going to these places, so maybe we could team up. And I was like, yes. So we're going to bring some awesome things to you this season. I'm so excited about it. Yes. Oh, good. There's Mary Beth's link for her podcast. And we just appreciate all of you being here. And let me know if you have any questions. What I thought I would pop in every week so we could share new things about what's going on. So if you have a time and day, morning or afternoon, that coming in live works best for you. If you have questions about homeschooling that I can answer or I can find the answers for you. If you have questions about how we homeschool, if you have questions about anything, put them in the chat and I will answer them, and we can go over some of them next week. Next week, I had an idea of what I want to talk about, but you never know what's going to happen around here, so we might come up with something new. Thank you guys for being brave and just laugh at my technical difficulties. I know Trish has got to be rolling on the floor because I was over in the wrong group having a nice conversation with some other ladies until I realized I was on the wrong page. But thank you guys for coming in. Thanks, Mary Beth, for helping out. And thanks, Trish. Yeah, y'all should text me next time. Tell me I'm on the wrong channel. Get me going with these techie stuff. You know, I'm outside. I'm outside getting cicada shells. So, yeah, my battery's going low. So, thank you guys. Thanks for joining me this week. Give me any questions you have, and I will talk at you later. I'll see you next week. Have a good afternoon.